friends, I'm Abby and today I will be doing the Summerween book tag. It is currently Summerween and I'm so excited to be doing this book tag to celebrate some of my favorite thrillers and horror novels and just spooky reads in general. I will link the original tag video down below as well as the hosts Olivia Reads a Latte and Gabby Reads down in the description box, so check them out. But let's get right into the Summerween tag questions. The first question is, what spooky read are you most excited about in your TBR pile right now? And my choice is They Never Learn by Lane Fargo. This is a female serial killer book, and I've heard that it is a fantastic revenge novel because it's all about this professor on this college campus who kills men who have wronged her or who have wronged women or something like that. It sounds so fascinating, and people have given it fantastic reviews. It is considered a psychological thriller, and I believe that another woman joins forces with this professor. I'm just so excited to read it, and I bought this book to read for the Literally Dead book club and didn't get to it, so I cannot wait to pick it up. I'm hoping to pick it up this month. I'm so excited to read it. The second question, what is your favorite revenge novel? And my choice for my favorite revenge novel, it is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. And this is just like your classic revenge story. And I think it's the first thriller I ever read that got me into reading thrillers and into reading kind of the spooky genre. So to me, it's kind of the OG revenge plot. So, so great. I absolutely loved it. I'm not going to spoil the book for you if you haven't read it, but Gone Girl is a classic and you should absolutely read it. I've seen the movie a long time ago. I read the book when I was in high school, so I definitely want to read it again once I can get my hands back on my copy. Question 3 is, what's a thriller or horror book that you wish you could experience again for the first time? And for this one, I chose Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This book is so atmospheric and slow burn, claustrophobic, just absolutely gorgeously written. And reading it for the first time felt like somebody was pushing down on my chest. It felt like I couldn't breathe. And following the twists and turns in the story and seeing the characters explore this mansion that's super creepy was just a wonderful ride, and I wish I could experience it again for the very first time, trying to figure out what the heck was going on and getting that gory horror element that I really was looking for in this book. Now I know what happens and it's still really gross, but experiencing it for the first time was unlike anything else. This book is all about Noemi, who gets a letter from her cousin that says, hey, I am being held hostage in my home by my husband. You have to come help me. He's poisoning me. If you don't come save me, I'm going to die. It's set in 1950s Mexico, and Noemi is this woman who cares so much about fashion and looks and beauty, and I loved her as a protagonist, just coming in and kicking butt and taking names and still representing that feminine side of a heroine. So fantastic. And this gave me major Yellow Wallpaper vibes, which I later found out that this was a reimagining of the Yellow Wallpaper. So it definitely rang true to that, and I wish I could experience this again for the very first time. Number 4, I'm going to read to you because I just have to read the question as it's written. Sucks to suck. You were just given a handful of your least favorite candy, the one not even your siblings or friends will trade for. What candy is it, and what spooky book did you want to love that disappointed you? So my least favorite candy would be a tie between candy corn and black licorice. Absolutely disgusting. I will be taking no questions and no arguments at this time because that's so, so gross. Whatever. And spooky books that disappointed me. The first one is House of Leaves. I really wanted to love this. I just talked about this in my mid-year book freakout tag, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. But this was one of my most disappointing books of the year because I wanted to be scared and freaked out. And honestly, I was just bored. And I didn't get anything out of it. Like, I don't even really remember much of the book, which is really sad because some people describe it as like the best reading experience they've ever had. They say this book keeps them up at night, and I just didn't have that same experience, sadly. But this book is all about this man who makes a documentary, and the documentary is about this house that supposedly expands once the family moves in, and the man of the house is like exploring the expansion. And then there's a man who finds this man's documentary and is kind of like telling the story of the documentary that he found from this man who he wrote it about another man, whatever. And then the second creepy book, spooky book that disappointed me this year was The Ancestor. This book I wanted to love because I love the cover and I really wanted to buy it and own it. But alas, this book was just, it went in too many directions and didn't solidly choose one. And I think that's where it lost me. Like, I liked all of the directions it took, but then it would take a direction and then like switch abruptly to something else. And it just didn't follow through with any of the major plots. So I just couldn't get with it. I couldn't love it like I wanted to. It disappointed me. And this book is all about a woman who gets a letter from Italy that says, you are the last remaining member of this really rich Italian family. You have inherited this major mansion. You have to come to Italy to claim it. And her husband go to Italy to claim it. She has no idea what they're talking about. She's never heard of these people before. But she goes to Italy to claim it, and it's up in these very remote mountains. And she gets there. She immediately loses her husband, so she's kind of on her own. And the story goes from there. It's a little bit paranormal. It's a little bit gothic. It's a little bit of a lot of things. But like I said, not enough of any of those things to really stick with me. Number 5 is time to put on your costume. If you could live in one spooky book, what would it be? And who would your best friends be? So if I could live in one spooky book, I would live in Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, because this world is so dark and gritty, but so exciting. This is a dark academia book, and it takes place on Yale's campus, which I absolutely love the idea of just being in like the college environment. And it's specifically about Galaxy Stern, or Alex, who is given this place at Yale's campus to investigate these secret societies. And Alex can see ghosts. She can talk to ghosts, and touch them, which is unlike anybody else. Nobody else has this ability. So if I could live in a book, I would live in Ninth House, and my best friends would be Alex Stern and Darlington, because Darlington is an absolute dreamboat. I would love to have him in my life. Number 6, what's your favorite haunted house book and TV show? So my favorite haunted house book, hands down, Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. This book, for me, is the pinnacle of a haunted house story. It is so thoroughly enjoyable. The horror elements are creepy. It's fast-paced. Every chapter ends on a cliffhanger and just makes you want to read more. And the great thing about this book is it's told in 2 parts. So part 1, we are in the modern day, and it's focusing on Maggie. And Maggie has inherited this house that her father left for her. They lived in the house when Maggie was a child for 21 days, and then they fled in the middle of the night. And Maggie doesn't really know why, but her dad has always said that it was extremely haunted and that that's why they left. And her dad actually wrote a book featuring this house and how haunted it was, and the book follows their 21 days that they spent there. And so it goes back and forth between Maggie's perspective, modern day, exploring the house, trying to figure out what actually happened there during those 21 days, and the dad's book, where he is writing about the 21 days that they spent there. So there are definitely some very creepy haunted house elements, like record players turning on by themselves and lights flickering on and off. There's a giant chandelier. It just was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. And it has major Haunting of Hill House vibes, which is my favorite haunted house TV show. I did pick a second choice for favorite haunted house TV show in case that seemed like a cop-out, but it is only 1 season, so it is season 1 of American Horror Story. Blew my mind, absolutely fantastic. I do like some of the other seasons as well, but season 1 is the one that's specifically about a haunted house. So that would be my second choice. Question 7, I have to read to you again. This is the food question. You can only pick one from each. Would you rather have chocolate or sour candy? I love both. I guess sour candy because that's my choice like when I have like a movie night or something because I can eat more of it in one sitting. But I absolutely love chocolate and I'll eat it in any form I get. Coffee or tea? Coffee for sure. I'm not really a tea person. I think it kind of tastes like leaves. I'm getting more into it, but definitely not a tea person at the moment. And then C, apple or pumpkin pie? Apple pie has a special place in my heart. My family always had apple pie growing up. We were not a pumpkin pie family. Although I love pumpkin pie, apple pie is still my favorite choice of those choices. Number 8 is show your favorite book that has a witchy woman or a woman getting screwed over by society and the patriarchy. Again, this was an easy choice for me. I chose The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. This features not only a witch and lots of witches, but a woman getting screwed over by the patriarchy, because this is a whole society of women getting screwed over by the patriarchy. So The Year of the Witching is all about the main character, Emmanuel. Her mother ran off into the woods to have her and left her, her mother died in childbirth, and left her this journal. She finds the journal, and the journal mentions all of these interactions with witches who live in the dark woods. And Emmanuel is kind of living in this utopian society where it is a very religious society, and the main man who like runs the society is called the prophet, and he basically chooses young women as wives and forces them to marry him and have his children. And Emmanuel is worried that she's going to be one of his next choices because there is a lot of history between the prophet and her mom. And so this book was creepy. It had some of my favorite horror elements. It reads in between young adult and adult. There are very gory elements, but it features a protagonist that I believe is like 17, so it could be a young adult read. But I absolutely loved it. It has fantastic witch representation, just very interesting Handmaid's Tale vibes. If you've read that book or watched that TV show, I recommend this. The next question is which book on your shelves has the scariest cover? And I decided to go with The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides, which I absolutely loved when I read it last year. And last year I read this for Summerween for a book with a spooky cover, because this cover freaks me out. It is like a woman with this like cloth papery thing in front of her that's ripped across her mouth, and it just is so, it creeps me out so much. Oh, I hate it. It's so spooky to me. But if you don't know, The Silent Patient is all about this psychotherapist, Theo, who reads about this woman, Alicia, I believe, who murders her husband and then stops talking. And Theo makes it his mission to get her to talk again. So he becomes her psychotherapist and is committed to getting her to speak again. It was very spooky, had a crazy plot twist that I didn't see coming, and I absolutely loved it. And I think it has the creepiest cover on my shelves. Question 10. It's Summerween and it's hot outside. Recommend a book that has summer vibes. Think beaches, cabins, lakes. And I have 2 choices for this. The first choice is The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. This book gives me summer vibes mostly because of the peaches, the vibes of this book. If you open it up, it has like this very floral pattern. It makes me think of summertime when I see the cover. I just think summer. In addition to that, it's set in the South, so it's nice and hot in this book. No matter what time of year it is, it's hot. And it features a book club, which to me, sitting around and drinking iced tea and talking about books feels very summery. So this book, in case you don't know, is all about this book club where they read true crime books together. And a man moves in down the street and tries to join their book club. And the main character of this book, Patricia, starts to think that something is a little bit off about the guy who's trying to join their book club. It has a lot of social justice themes going on that I didn't expect in the book, and I gave it 5 stars. So not only does it have summer vibes, it also was a fantastic book. The other book I'm going to show you looks more like a fall book, but it gives me summer vibes, and that is The Troop by Nick Cutter. mostly because of the lake vibes and because this book is all about a Boy Scout troop who goes to this island. And although I don't think they do it during the summer, to me, growing up with the Boy Scouts, going on a Boy Scout camp out that was like a week long was a summer thing. So this gives me definite summertime vibes because it's all about a Boy Scout troop. They go to this island, and while they're on the island, this man who's extremely emaciated, very pale, and can't stop eating comes up to their camp, and the boys and the scoutmaster all have to decide what they're going to do, and they find out that whatever is afflicting this man might be more contagious than they think. So I absolutely love this, and I gave it 5 stars, but it gives me major summer vibes. Question 11, you and your friends are exploring a haunted house. You get separated and you hear screaming in the other room. You run into the other room and find 2 friends there. What 2 fictional friends do you want with you in this situation to continue exploring the haunted house and figure out where the screams are coming from? So the first fictional friend that I would like to have with me in this situation is Amy from The One, and Amy is the police officer from The One, and she is just so interesting to me, and I can't tell you necessarily why I would pick her because I don't want to spoil anything in this book, but just her dedication to solving mysteries, I think, is why I love her, and she just is a fantastic character to me. And if I was in a situation in a haunted house where people are screaming, I would want Amy with me. And then the other choice would be Darcy from No Exit because she will get it done. She will attack, she will protect, she is the moment. I love her. I think she's so intense. I think she's willing to do whatever it takes to survive and to protect other people. And that's who I want watching my back if I'm in a haunted house and the people are screaming. I want Darcy there because she will absolutely tear someone apart for me. I'm certain if she was my best friend, she would destroy someone for me, and that's why I love her. Question 12 says, trick or treat. Stephen King, H.P. Lovecraft, Mary Shelley, and Shirley Jackson are at your door. Who do you give the biggest candy bar to? This one, for me, is easy because I've never read Shirley Jackson. Stephen King, I've read 4 of his books, but I have only liked one of them. The rest of them were like, okay. So he and I just like don't vibe necessarily. And then H.P. Lovecraft, it's like coming out now that he had some like racist ideals. So we don't support him in this house. So that leaves Mary Shelley, which I absolutely love. Frankenstein. Frankenstein in high school was my favorite book that I read for school. So I would definitely choose Mary Shelley. She's getting the biggest candy bar. She's the queen. Congratulations, Mary. And question 13, the final spooky question, what an apt number to end on, is what is your favorite spooky book to movie adaptation? And again, this was easy. Mine is It by Stephen King because the new movie adaptations of It are everything. I absolutely love them. They're scary, they're cinematically brilliant, and they took the things I loved about the book, translated them into the movie beautifully, and kept out the parts that were very questionable to me. So ultimately, I think it took what I enjoyed from the book and made it way better, way more masterful. All of the acting was fantastic, and I think about it all the time. It's my favorite spooky movie to watch in Halloween season, so I definitely have to go with It by Stephen King. That is going to be all for me today. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video with anyone you think would enjoy it, and I'll see you next time. Bye, friends!